of the Hubbardston Select Board to order. For those watching from home and for those in attendance, this meeting is digitally recorded and released via YouTube and cable access. So that's for you to know. I will now open the board reorganization with the nominations for Chair of the Hubbardston Select Board.
I'd like to make a nomination for Jeff to be chair.
A nomination for Jeff Williams. Is there a second? Second by Select Board Member Young. Are there any other nominations for Chair of the Hubbardston Select Board? Are there any other nominations for Chair of the Hubbardston Select Board? With that, I will take a motion to close nominations for Chair of the Hubbardston Select Board.
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Nominations for the Hubbardston Select Board Chair have been closed. All in favor to elect Mr. Jeff Williams, Chair of the Hubbardston Select Board for the fiscal year 2024, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Select Board Chair, congratulations.
Thank you all, appreciate your support.
All right.
You had
We're
a lot
meeting now,
of, lot of
Jeff.
people running against you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Yes, don't
Speech.
jump for once.
Speech.
Okay, then next it will be to have the nominations for the Select Board Vice Chair.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Katie for vice chair.
Second. Oh, I gotta wait.
Motion's been made for Katie Young,
Second
and
that.
a second.
Yes, sir.
Are there any other nominations for Vice Chair? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And now we'll move to the election of the the nomination for Select Board Clerk. Is there any nominations at this time?
I would like to nominate Heather again.
Second.
We have a motion made and second. Are you accepting
Sure.
the is there any other nominations for Select Board Clerk? Seeing none, we'll close the nominations. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, that brings us to the formal opening. Is there anyone here for open session? Okay, the board should take note, if you have seen the agenda, there's a new format now for the consent agenda. We've had some members request more details should be included in terms of the setup of this. So we have quite the detail. So would you take a minute or so just to go through this? Items A, B, C, and D, they're all come under consent agenda, to see if you personally have any questions or holds or anything.
Mr. Chairman, did we skip communications announcements in the end?
Oh, I did, excuse me.
I was gonna cut in with that, but that's okay.
I apologize to my vice chair.
That's okay. That's
Katie,
okay.
go ahead.
All right,
my vote.
Thank you.
so we had, our first summer concert of our series this past Saturday. Thank God the rain held off. Let me tell you, it opened up about 15 minutes after. I mean, it sprinkled a little bit during it, but nothing major. But yeah, the skies opened up about 15 minutes after it was done. But before that, we had Neon Alley out there. We had Giacomo's. Eric from the Reptile Shows in New England came out. We had glitter tattoos. We had the Boy Scouts. We had the Girl Scouts. There was entertainment for all ages. Henry the Juggler came out. There was people enjoying the music the whole time. I was very happy with our first summer concert series that we've had here in a very long time.
Where the hell
Yes, like I said, that it did, thank God. So that was our first one. It went off very well, which was great. We will be having another one tentatively this Saturday, but the weather right now is kind of iffy, so it might go to Sunday. We're gonna hold on that for right now, but tentatively it's for this Saturday. ASB, it's a soul, funk, rhythm and blues band is gonna be playing. Giacomo's will be coming back out, the Scouts will be coming back out, the Glitter Tattoo people will be coming back out. I'm gonna try and round up a few more activities for kids to entertain. There is a playground as well there, a brand new one that the parks put in just like a year or so ago. that is very lovely for the children to play on, but yes, come out and join us, and then there's 2 others after that, August 5th and August 19th. All these concerts are at the rec field from 5 to 8, there will be food available at all of them to buy, and we will be trying to do different kind of activities to keep children entertained, so it's not like you're running around chasing your kids the whole time. So bring the whole family down, bring your camp chairs or a picnic blanket or something to sit down on, and it's a good evening. Also, I am taking applications for the Dingy Dash. Dingy Dash this year is August 26th at 10 a.m. This year I broke it up a little bit differently rather than just having a one group. We're doing 3 different categories to choose from with prizes. So we're doing the single occupant youth, a single occupant adult, and then a group vessel of 2 to 4 people. And then we will also have trophies for the best sink, the most creative vessel, and the extended voyage like we have been having originally. So there are more places to enter. Mike, who's always our winner, this time will allow people, like the kids, to be able
So,
to
if
not
he's-
compete against Mike.
If he's the only one that signs up in his group, does he automatically win?
Yeah.
Does he even?
No, you have to get around.
Well, you
you
still
still
gotta get
still
around.
have to have
It's
a tie.
sinks, yeah,
Yeah.
because we have had, like last year, there was no sinkers, so I still have the trophy. This is why I never
Oh.
put years on them, because just in case.
Yeah.
So we will, go ahead, Mike. What?
Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road. Minor correction, I have not always won.
No, he has not always won. The first year he did not win, he actually sank. Right, he went right in the water, right down. So, but yes, after that, he's been our fastest. I keep trying to tell him, go for a unique vessel, stop going for the speed. But anyway, it's a super fun day. It's great to enter. I will tell you, if you build a boat, it's not hard. I can't even tell you how many boats I've helped the kids build. Deadline to enter is August 21st. But again, it's August 26th, so you got plenty of time to build a boat. Cardboard and duct tape, and if you don't build a boat, just come down and watch it. It's the dumbest thing you've ever seen. So, and it'll just give you some entertainment to watch. So those are the few things that we have for just this summer months coming up, which is plenty.
Sure is.
Yeah.
Any questions from anyone? Thank you very much. I'm sorry that I skipped you.
Yeah, that's okay.
I
Don't
won't
worry.
do
We'll
it
get,
again, I
we'll get
promise.
there from here.
Okay. Now, what I was saying on consent agenda is it's a different format, so if you could take us just a minute to look it over, items A, B, C, and D, and we'll go through it,
Mr.
to see if
Chair.
you have any holds. Yeah.
Can I suggest a hold? I put it in there, and now that it's actually here and we're in the meeting, I am going to suggest that you hold on Mr. McDonald for the QRSD school committee to determine if that's something we would like to hold on to Mr. McDonald's application to see if we could potentially get a number of applicants
Mhm.
to serve, as that is an incredibly important position, or if that's something the board would discuss and appoint this evening.
Okay. Noted. Okay, let me just quickly go down through it, and if anyone has any questions or holds, please state so before we ask for a motion. On the appointments, we have Douglas Cormier, Economic Development Committee, for member, term is stated as expiring 6/30/24. John Nason, Council on the Aging, he's already a member, term expires 6/30/2024. Leroy Hawkins, Traffic Control Unit, Traffic Control Officer, term expires 6/30/2024. Robert McDonald, Nate has already recommended that we put a hold on this, for the school committee, as a member, 2024, what's ATE?
Annual town election.
Oh, annual town, thank you. Mandy Donaldson, Parks and Recreation Commission, Commissioner, 2024, ATE. Wendy LeBlanc, Department of Public Works, Administrative Assistant, 6/30/2024. Why don't we just deal with that block first? Are there any holds or questions on any of those?
Yeah, I've got a question. You said John Nason is a member. So
No, that's not
what's
the
that?
position that he's being a reappointment. It's basically a reappointment.
I don't-
John's been on it recall.
He has?
So
Yeah.
how do we differentiate between reappointments and new appointments?
It would say reappointment. It's my understanding that Mr. Nason was not a member and was taking Mrs. Cunningham's spot.
Oh, he's
but
stepping
I
in?
think he
could-
was a member previous.
He was a
He has-
chairman.
He-
I have his letter right
Twice,
here.
yeah.
So he was a chairman in the past.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yes.
this he
So-
goes back to.
So
when
it
we
sounds
haven't
like
seen the Senate,
he's
so-
not an active member right now.
No.
Yep,
So he's not a member.
okay,
He's, yeah,
She's
he's
an applicant for.
applicant for member, yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
So when you're looking at this too, Chris, it looks like we've combined appointments as employees and as volunteers on here. So the members and the commissioner, those are all people who are appointed to the either elected or just a plain volunteer committee. And then you have traffic control officer and administrative assistant, and those are paid positions. So maybe next time we can also just separate those out so
Yes.
that only if it's bulk,
Yeah.
Mhm.
so it's cleaner.
We don't usually have this many, and this was a new format in attempting to get more information out there, just so that there didn't have to be so many questions.
Does that make sense?
So to be clear, these are all new appointments.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay,
So the only hold would be, as Nate suggested, Robert McDonald.
yep. And this is agreeable to everybody on that.
Wasn't Robert last year?
He was on
Yeah, that
previously.
he would be a reelect, or a reappointment, excuse me, Robert McDonald,
Well,
for,
yes and no. It's hard because it was a failure to elect.
Elect,
and
yeah,
he
he
did not,
wasn't-
and he did
he
not
didn't
run,
run.
Yeah.
and
but he was appointed,
We need to discuss it.
yeah.
that's why I
Yeah, it's that
suggested the
hold.
hold, because
Yeah.
he was on it last year, he did not run, he's the sole applicant. We could seek others, I know other people have asked about the opportunity, none of them have gone as far as to fill out the application.
So we approved his appointment a year ago?
Yes.
Yeah, there were several applicants, I still have all those.
Yeah, there was
I have
a bunch
all those
And we
applications
can
in my
even go
folder
as
at
far
home.
as to reach out to those who applied last
Yeah,
year.
maybe somebody else wants to
Yeah.
try it.
So we should get the word out there, yeah.
That was the only, with nothing against Mr. McDonald, I don't know him, I don't believe I've ever met him. I just would like
He's a teacher.
the most fair opportunity for anyone to seek to volunteer in that
Sure.
role.
We all in agreement on that? Okay. Alright, so, block B of the consent agenda, we'll come back to when we ask for the motion for the whole agenda, but we'll now go to block C. We have resignations, Jasmine Barry, Department of Public Works, she was the administrative assistant. Donna Lafayette, Massachusetts Regional Tech School Committee member. And Bonnie Cunningham, Council on the Aging member. They're all resigning. Are there any holds or questions on that? Okay, we'll go to item D of the consent agenda, wage authorizations. A, FY '24 personnel wages. B, police administrative assistant reclassification. C, Nancy Perone, police administrative assistant. And D, Wendy LeBlanc, DPW administrative assistant. Are there any, go ahead.
I do.
Yeah.
So, I read the, what was on here, and so basically she was getting paid,
Who are you talking about now?
Nancy.
Nancy,
Oh, okay, yep.
less as a police administration
By two hold
assistant,
honors.
compared to what she's doing over there.
Mhm.
Did you
And-
change her class, did you change the whole classification for the police department for that job?
For that job is what I'm attempting to do, because
So you-
the amount of work that the police administrative assistant
Yeah.
and the amount of work, let's take people out of these roles, that the amount of work the police administrative assistant, the amount of work the building and board of health licensing clerk, and the amount of work the executive assistant do are all incredibly comparable in terms of hours and in terms of work performed. The executive assistant and the building license clerk position are I believe a D, I'd have to go look, but they're 2 steps above
Okay.
the police position. And if you go and look at other comparable communities with a police administrative assistant, they are even considerably higher than what we would bring the position to here tonight.
The question I have is, can you change her rate of pay prior to changing the job title?
Well, we're changing her rate of pay after we change the reclassification.
Okay, that's all I wanted to
Yeah,
know.
cause
But it's not reclassified on paper.
well, as
For
soon
the
as,
town
as soon as
employee.
you vote for it, it would be,
It would then
Okay.
appear as a,
and then we would write it that way.
All right, you see where I'm going with that?
Yes,
I just,
absolutely.
legalities,
Yeah,
that's
it
what
was
I'm
just-
looking at. I mean, cause I don't think you can technically pay somebody more money for a job that they're not appointed to yet.
The reclassification that I'm proposing to you guys
It's a
here
job
is-
title
is
you're
actually,
changing,
no, it's
right?
not a job title, it's
Just
a
the monetary?
monetary.
Okay.
And
Sure.
over the past several years, these have been done with significantly less votes and notice. So I think the way we're doing it here will probably be the way I move forward with it, just to keep everything clean as we move forward year to year.
It's called transparency.
So the police admin assistant reclassification isn't really a wage authorization, it's a kind of a rescoring of that
Yes.
position.
Yep.
But we're doing that because it's attached to the wage authorization for the employee in that position. Okay.
Well, in all fairness, I do believe that the work done by the police administrative assistant completely, like Nancy is a good employee, but completely just position v. position is comparable.
mhm. Any other questions in regards to this?
And the FY '24 personnel wages, that's something that I did, but I'm not 100% sure I had to. But I wanted to be, again, transparent and just make sure that you all had everybody's rates. It also helps Mary and the financial team with payroll, because they know exactly how much to pay all of the staff.
So again, for transparency,
Yeah.
everything, okay. No other questions, then I would accept a motion to approve the consent agenda. If someone would make it,
Motion to approve as amended with the hold for Robert McDonald.
okay. Motion made
Second.
and second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes,
Yes.
opposed? Passed, okay, now we will move to new business. Item A, end of the year transfers.
Thank you.
Has everyone had the opportunity to review these?
Mm.
Can I ask a question before we start on 8?
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
So the way we vote our budget in broad categories, right? So general government, public safety, and so forth. So I didn't go through and do the math in each of the individual categories, but I'm assuming we're still doing year-end transfers because some of those categories didn't have enough money to absorb the negatives? Or are we just doing year-end transfers because at the end we're just being a little more transparent on this part?
We're doing year-end transfers because, if I'm being completely honest, the cuts earlier in the year had a effect, and there were a number of variables that happened over the course of the year. Is this a higher number than potentially normal year-end transfers, which I've seen some years be just snow and ice? Yes, but this was a pretty wacky year.
Okay.
I can review them one by one if people would like.
I don't need that level of review. I read them all, but I guess my bigger question is, I'm just wondering if, we actually needed to do some of these year-end transfers, cause if there's certain things that are all in the general fund, like the general government, that they're positive and negative, they would just wash.
Is that true? I'd have to look into that.
So
That-
because
I believe you.
Well, because the way the budget was voted,
Oh,
right?
yeah, you're right.
Because it's categorically voted.
Yeah,
you know, you don't, like, you have legal expenses, and then I think there was a town administrator line.
Yeah.
Well, the town administrator line, I believe, had extra, legal expenses was negative, they're both in general government bottom line was what was voted,
You
so
are
if
one-
those,
So you can
You are
do
correct.
what you will with the money in that sense.
yeah, so you only would need to transfer,
Yeah.
and, I mean, I'm happy to vote, today's the last day from DLS, so happy to vote whatever, but just moving forward.
Yes, I 100% agree, and thank you for bringing that forward, because that is how this should have been, because the town does vote in those categories, and we are breaking it into subcategory, and that would have been significantly easier for the finance team and I. So I appreciate you bringing that forward. If we could do it this way tonight, any transfers in the future will be broken down by the general government, public safety. That's awesome.
Any other comments? All we need here then is a motion for approval of the transfers.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the transfers as proposed.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion passed, thank you, okay. Item B, film request. You wanna,
So we got a request from an incredibly respectful young man that is doing a film for a small film competition on sailboats, or how to make his kayak sail. Maybe he'll be a good candidate for the dinghy dash.
Yep, or maybe
Thought it
talk
was his
to Mike.
canoe, actually.
Or yeah, his canoe, but he was seeking permission, and I looked back, the town does not have, like some other towns have, a film request permit. And I don't think people are knocking down the doors for one either at this time. If they did, we would bring that forward and make a policy. But I am just seeking that we give this young man permission to film in the town. I will reach out to DCR to ensure that he follows all the guidelines of filming in a state park, which I believe are quite loose. I am appreciative that this young man even reached out in this manner. I believe it is within the motion, I will ask him to contact the police department ahead of going to film, just in case they get any phone calls, so that they can say,
He's just doing it himself?
yeah.
Okay. Cause like Discovery Channel came here a couple years ago to do you didn't, with Bill Shea.
Yep.
And his
Yep.
whole, it was actually
Well, that's-
Back to the Future thing.
yep.
Oh.
And he was,
Ex- He's from the-
Expedition X or whatever.
Expedition, yeah, and he's from
Unknown.
Massachusetts, that guy.
Yeah, he's from Boston.
Can't think of his name.
Josh,
Gates.
yeah,
Josh
there you
Gates.
go, Josh Gates.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Yeah, this isn't
Can
a
drink beer.
professional.
Yeah, this was professional, I don't think they asked, I don't remember it ever coming, cause we didn't catch wind of it until,
Did they film on public property? Cause if they
I
were just
think
at Mr. Shea's
so,
house.
no, they were in the
No,
vehicle
they were-
driving. And then they went
They were at
to
his
Tractor Supply.
warehouse too.
Yeah.
Where all of his stuff
In
is
the
kept.
parking lot, but that's Gardner.
There
Did
should
they
be
ask
a
Gardner?
policy in place for that.
And we can look in-
So we
we can
can
look
make
into
sure
it.
that we get a police detail on every one.
So that we can get a police detail if there's ever, I know some communities have put it in so that they can make some money off of the ordeal. I believe it's the town of Lancaster ended up with a gazebo, cause one of their policies stated that something tangible had to be placed in wherever a major motion picture was made. You know, but I have yet to receive any professional requests. So it's something we can definitely look into, but right now it's just a young man trying to make a sailboat.
Yeah,
When I was talking to Nate earlier today about this very thing, one of the things that came up when we were talking is where he wants to do the filming is a state park. So whether or not we would be able to think that we could even
we
give a
really
permit.
don't have any say
We
then.
would really not have any say, so basically all we're looking for here is a motion to place the correspondence on file and ask the filmmaker to let Hubbardston Police Department know when he will be filming.
So
So
he's gotta
moved.
get permission from the state park also.
I'm gonna reach out to the state
Second.
tomorrow to see what we need from them.
Which pond is it? The one down,
Comment.
the gated
Comment.
one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Comment, yeah. Yeah. So, I guess a motion has been made.
Second.
And second. Any discussion? Further discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes, opposed? Motion carried. Item C, Conservation
Mr. Chairman,
Commission.
I respectfully request this item be removed from the calendar per the email that I sent you earlier from legal counsel, who stated that to
right.
create a alternate member, we would have to petition the general court.
Okay. So we're not tabling it, we are just deleting it? Okay. It never existed. Okay. Okay, item D, special town meeting. Nate?
This was more or less just an update to the board from myself, and I spoke with the moderator. The time frame that I'm thinking to have the special town meeting would be late September, early October, whatever the board so chose, but
What did we have last year? When?
It was before that, I think.
It was.
No, it was in October.
Well,
It
yeah.
was
the second
October, that
one.
final
The second one was in
October.
October,
The final
because I was
First
in
one was like
Wisconsin.
now.
Yeah, okay, yeah, all right.
I did speak with the planning board chair prior to coming to this meeting.
Imagine
And-
that.
Yeah, every now and then.
Did you force yourself to do that?
You know, it was over dinner, so it worked out well. He did mention that he would like to push for some time in October, just to give them enough time to wrap up some of the projects they're working on.
Okay.
I will be presenting on my override study at our next meeting, and there is one of the options presented that would potentially use this fall. As you are the elected board, will present a number of options, but one of them would use that, so October would be even better for that option as well. Or we can do it in the fall, or not at all, there's lots of options.
Does it appear that we are going to need one?
First, yeah, special town meeting.
Does it appear or
I
is it a
haven't
fact?
seen the numbers, it's up to, you know, that's Nate's.
A special town meeting or an override?
An override.
No, I was talking about the
I
town
will be
meeting.
presenting the facts. Things do look like they're heading that way.
Okay.
Will it pass at the election? It has never in the 20+ times before, but something does need to happen to ensure the financial stability of the town.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So anything else on the special town meeting? All right, 2022 general bylaw review.
So, last year in 2022, since the town charter so elegantly puts that the general bylaws should be reviewed in years that end in 2 or 7, we did not review. Candace and I wanted to bring that to your attention in the event you wanted to ratify that situation. If you do not, the next time there will be a formalized general bylaw review is 2027. They are, in this town and in other towns, they have gone much longer than that in the past in reviewing their bylaws, but I did want to bring that to your attention here this evening.
Does anyone have any feeling one way or the other?
I
on that?
do, well, not feeling, cause I leave feelings out of it. Just kidding. So, obviously, the general bylaw review is to update or put recommendations in
Yep,
as needed to
provide
update.
recommendations, yep.
Okay, and the last time it was done was in,
About 5 years ago, I imagine.
Yeah, I'd
Put it
have
on
to
the
look
schedule.
back.
Yeah.
2017
Yeah.
would be when it would have been due.
okay, and doesn't that, now, isn't the planning board working on something else?
General bylaws.
General
Planning board
bylaws.
does zoning bylaws.
Okay, alright,
Yeah, the last time it was done, I remember, I don't know if she was chair, Joyce was on it, Jamie Pitney was on it, there was a bunch of people, they came back with like, it was like a lot of grammatical
Mhm.
fixing.
Right.
You
Yes,
know,
it did.
commas here, fixing the wording there, typos, things like
Select
that.
board instead of select man.
Yeah, stuff like
So
that.
has that been done yet to this?
Yes.
It has.
Yes.
So the
And
the
the
general
town-
bylaws have been updated with,
Since their creation, yes.
no, since,
Since the change of the terminology. from
Terminology.
select
Just
man
did
to
Board of
that.
Selectmen.
No, because the general bylaws were updated from select man to select board and that kind of stuff at annual town meeting this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're still waiting on the
I thought we
general
were.
bylaws to return back from the Attorney General's office, who needs to review all of them, and we should get that back any day now.
I'd like to point out too, also to whether or not it has any bearing on how you feel about this as a board, but if we opt to tackle this, it means trying to get another committee of people who'll be willing to
Yeah.
volunteer.
We are.
And we've not been
committee
too
heads.
successful on that, so it
I
should
say
be,
put it off for
it
5
should be
years.
considered,
Or 3, 2
because that's
years.
what would have to be, as a
And-
committee would have to be set up for that.
We make the minor reviews every year.
Yeah,
When
at
someone
town
looks
meeting,
and makes
yeah.
that small change here, that small change there. Every 5 years, it's in the town charter to be a comprehensive review, just to make sure that the general bylaws are keeping up with the times and
yeah.
are still doing their
Relevant.
purpose, they're still
Right.
relevant, so
So,
yeah.
right, as your population changes, right.
So,
I guess my view on this, right, is I always think it's helpful to do it every 5 years because it's essentially becomes smaller chunks, right? Like there's some towns out there, that no one's reviewed them for a number of years, there's things outdated, there's things crazy going on and everything else. This is, even though this may seem like a lot of work, it's not really super heavy lifting. It's literally getting 5 people and a binder printed out of all the bylaws, them sitting down once a month to go through,
Yeah.
you know, read each of them out loud as you go together and see if there's any that are problematic or any that need to be looked at. And then you just move on, make recommendations to the select board. The only question I have to add is, aren't we due for looking at our charter at the same time?
The charter,
Was that
it was,
20?
I think it was a year ending in 6.
Okay. That's what it says to review it in?
Ah.
I was thinking it's every 10 years, wasn't it past like 2013?
Well, that would, well,
What
if
is
it's
that
a
now?
year ending in like 6 or a
16.
specific number, then it would be every 10 years, yeah.
within 7 years.
Yeah, the question is when it passed. The only thought would be is, you know, it's a pain, but it's not, I don't think it's too heavy of a lift for 5 people to do the journal bylaw review, and the charter review is more of a thing. But again, that one's easy, cause that's the concept of what's working, what's not working.
But,
And you have to do
Yeah.
some feedback and surveying on that.
Periodic
but
reviews.
you're assuming though we will get 5 people.
Well, I think one of the people on it, isn't it naturally the town
The
clerk?
town clerk, yes.
So we
Candace
only need
chairs it.
4, right? So theoretically, we often stick one person from our board on it.
Well, we were
And I
talking
would-
about that earlier, that, as much as possible, it'd be best if we weren't for,
It's something that,
transparency's
that
sake.
comes right back to
Right.
you, like,
that we were not part of it.
So then we have number 2 here, so then that leaves us,
Thanks, thanks Mike for volunteering,
Yeah.
we appreciate that.
If you need someone, I will gladly do it.
look at that, so then we're just down to 3 bodies.
Well, so you are advocating for it then,
I,
to have it done?
I think it's a good idea. I don't, you know, I know it's a little bit of a pain, but it's one of those things I don't wanna think about, you know, in 5 years from now and be like, oh crap, I really wish we did this more frequently because now we're overwhelmed and now these things are 7 years out of date instead of 5 years out of date.
Okay, fair enough. Anyone else go along with Heather on this, or have any other feelings about it?
Well, is it gonna mess it up that one of our things is outstanding, switching all the select board to select men and planning board to,
No,
no?
those
That's
are
not gonna
just
matter?
that's
perfunctory,
easy,
like,
and
we're just waiting for them to say yes.
by the time we get all of this together and that entity met, we're gonna have that back. And
They're not gonna
Candace
not
has
approve
rough
that.
drafts of that
So
anyhow.
as long as they go with a rough draft.
Yep.
But
Well,
that's the only thing we changed, wasn't it, select board?
In chair
Yeah,
and commissioner.
yeah.
Yeah,
it's
I don't-
Through everything.
I don't think they're gonna care. But remember too, I think that's also a good point, sometimes general bylaws take a period of time to come back from the AG's office to approve. So even if we
So
amend
I-
something at annual town meeting, doesn't mean it's gonna become law for another 6 months to a year.
I was told the opposite, once they,
On zoning bylaws, yes. On
Okay.
general bylaws, no.
only zoning.
Zoning
Okay.
bylaws are retroactively
soon
approved
as
to the
town law,
date they
yeah.
were approved. General bylaws are approved
Okay.
when they are returned and have their waiting period where they sit on a wall in a dark room.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's time constraints on that,
And-
on their end.
Cause a zoning bylaw, there could be businesses waiting
Waiting,
for
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
In a general bylaw, there's usually not that
Okay.
sort of,
So Heather, I would say then, why don't you, put, if you so moved, make a motion that you would like to see this, okay? And if it's second, and we have discussion, then we'll take a vote to see how the board feels about this.
I'd like to make a motion to create a general bylaw review committee in accordance with the town charter.
I will second it.
Motion's made and second. Discussion is still open. Anyone have anything they wanna add or detract on that?
for the good of the order, the charter review, section 6(7)(1), every 10 years in a year ending in a 6, the Board of Selectmen shall appoint a special committee to consist of 9 members for the purpose of
9.
reviewing this charter and making a report with recommendations.
Is it, I'm sorry, just to clarify, is it every 10 and a year ending in 6 or?
Every 10 years in,
Okay,
so
That's for the,
Gotcha.
2026.
Charter.
so we have 3 more
That's
years.
for the chart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
General bylaws
Is-
every 6.
Every 5
General
years,
bylaws.
and in every 5 years, in each year ending in a 2 or a 7,
So that'll be every 5 years.
and does
Yeah.
it give us a number that the committee should be?
5 members.
5
One
members.
of whom shall be the town clerk, who
Okay.
shall be chair.
Okay. All right, any further discussion? All right, all in favor of going forward with the motion?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
In
Opposed? Okay.
Per this, they will have almost the entirety of the year. The committee shall present a final report to the Board of Selectmen not later than 90 days prior to the scheduled date of the annual town meeting of the next fiscal year. So,
So Heather, who do you have in mind
So
for
how do
the
we get
other
a committee?
three?
Yeah, let's start on
Well, we
step
got
one
2
then.
already, right? We got the town clerk and we got Mike.
I was
So
thinking
we're-
we advertise it.
Yeah.
Well, we could do that, and then we can start hunting people down.
Yeah.
Put
Okay.
it on
This-
our
Okay.
website,
You know,
face, we're
this-
looking for
So I guess
volunteers.
we'll
This
go ahead
could-
with that, then, and get the word out, see if we can get, thanks for Mike for volunteering as he did.
For folks at home or people who know other people in town,
Teach you to come to the meeting.
this might really be a good opportunity for people who are newer in town or not sure about getting involved in our government, because this really gives them an insight as to what our laws are.
What's going on and
So-
what you can do in town.
And where the
Yeah.
feedback is, right? Like,
Yeah.
this is dumb, this doesn't make sense, why do we have this? You know, this is a great opportunity for them to have a direct impact.
I've
And
never
this-
been told anything was over-reviewed. Under-reviewed, yes.
Can we get a list of all the real estate transactions in the last year? We'll hit them
We'll let you do that afterwards.
A
When you-
question, what would be the term of the committee? Is it a year that they
Until
have
the-
to do this?
It's until the close of their report.
So it's open-ended then, it's not
I
expected.
would say
in other words,
annual town meeting
Yeah.
next
it's not-
year.
So that would be a suggested,
Yeah, it's a short-term commitment, right?
9 months from now,
Yeah.
10 months?
It would be until they do the thing they're supposed to do, and then the committee dissolves.
okay. All right, then you'll move ahead with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that takes care of D and E. Item F,
Yeah, this
the
one
review of the
worries.
Cannabis Control Commission Municipal Equity Memorandum, and we had, you wanna express what
Yes,
we talked about?
thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to provide the information attached to tonight's agenda kind of ahead of time, because we were advised by town council to still wait until the final guidelines come out, but this is a good point to start thinking about what the board would like to do. We were advised to not speak on ideas for existing HCA's in regular session, but I wanted to provide you with this information. At our next meeting, I will look into a few of the different options to create the policy for social equity candidates. I'm currently working with legal counsel to figure out what that exactly means, whether it would be the waiving of a fee or something along those lines. I will put together a number of options for you at your next meeting, but those are kind of the two heavy hitting portions of the guidance that came out from the CCC last week, whereas we are likely to have to figure out something to do with our host community agreements, as the community impact fees are not looking like they will stand, and we do need to create a policy based on the minimal guidance from the CCC on social equity applicants. But with that being said, the minimal requirements do not exist yet. But legal counsel is still recommending we think about it. So, if there are any questions over the course of the next couple of weeks, feel free to reach out, because it's something I'm hesitant to say too much on in open session.
That's great.
But when it comes time for a discussion, it would be executive session,
Yes, sir.
okay? Is everybody clear on that? We just can't discuss it here. All right, no questions on that, we'll move on.
You just told us we couldn't have any questions,
Yeah.
Jeff. You can't have any questions with this,
Yeah.
other questions.
Item G, policy and procedure review working group.
That's just a notice from me to you to accept as correspondence, noting that I am putting together a working group to look at policies and review them before they come to the select board. I feel it was a relevant step, because those are the people that will be most impacted by these policies. And the last time we reviewed a lot of our policies, it was unfortunate that COVID then came really, really quickly. So a lot of things went without being implemented. So now if we're going to review them again with the purpose of implementation, I would like some buy-in from my colleagues here in Town Hall. We did have a few volunteers so far, so it's looking like it's gonna be good. I am setting off to try to get through all of the policies within the next year and a half.
And you would like a motion on this, correct?
Oh, I just place it on file.
Okay, fine, just to place it on file. So you want a motion?
You don't need it.
Oh, we don't need it, okay, fine, all right.
I think it's a great idea, Nate, and I think it's a great idea to involve your departments and employees in that piece.
Okay, item H, appointment of election workers slate.
Pretty cut and dry. Every year between July 15th and August 15th, the town clerk is mandated to provide the select board with a list of election workers for appointment. This is her doing just that.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to appoint the slate of election workers.
Motion made
Second.
and second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Opposed?
Yes.
Motion passed. Thank you. Oh, sorry, opposed?
No.
Oh, okay.
Been trying to confuse Jeff.
5-second delay.
Old business, DPW memorandum of understanding.
Mr. Chair, I am requesting that this is removed from the calendar this evening. We went back and forth with the DPW, working and negotiating to find a deal that would work to allow us to bring in new employees at a more favorable rate. We went from 7-0-1 as far as to 8-0-2-1, and we could not reach a negotiation. They had went as far as to note that they did not believe we were doing enough for retention, and that after this first year, they'd be back right in the same spot. I don't necessarily disagree with them, and I look forward to negotiating with them on their contract in the fall or early winter. But at this time, with the finances the way they are, I didn't feel like it was the best time to continue going up and up and up. Had there been more DPW employees employed at this time, I think this would have gone a different way, because it was 2-1 out of the 3 of them. So if they come back to me with a proposal of any sort, I will consider it with Travis and bring it to your attention, but for now, I request this is removed from the agenda.
Okay, motion,
I'm sorry, can I just ask a follow-up? So you said 7, 0, 0, 1, and then 8, 0, 0, 1?
It was
You're referencing the class chart?
No, they're increases. So it was originally
Oh, percentage.
Contract.
8%,
yeah.
Each
Yeah.
year.
Okay,
8%.
sorry,
It was-
I'm guessing
it
people
was-
at home are
You're
thinking the
thinking
same
Yeah,
thing, going,
my
are we talking
apologies.
votes, are we talking
I-
sections, are we talking wage and classification grades?
the percentage of increase that was proposed
Thank you.
to the select board when I got the approval to move
Okay.
forward and seek this was 7% increase, which would have brought them to 9 with their 2 this year.
Yeah.
Then nothing for 1 year,
So 0,
then nothing for a second year,
0,
and then a 1.
okay.
They came back and we went back and forth and ended up with the last proposal that Travis and I were comfortable with prior to coming back to the select board being 8, 0, 2, 1. And that was still,
Okay.
okay,
yeah, if they come, I left the door open, and if they come back, I
8,
will.
0, 2.
1, 11%.
No, you can't do that in rough times. You just can't.
Yeah.
How about 0, 0, 0? How do you feel about that?
I look forward to negotiations with them when the contract opens up in the fall and or early winter.
Okay.
Thank you for the explanation,
Yeah.
much
We
appreciated.
have a motion then to remove the item from the calendar.
So moved.
Second. Motion, and second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Opposed? Aye. Passed, okay. TA report?
All right, I won't read this out loud, I will just.
You don't wanna read the whole thing out loud?
No, I learned from that. I learned
Good stuff.
I
Come
learned my
on.
lesson on that. So the finance departments have spent a lot of time lately kind of closing out the fiscal year. I really appreciate Mary and Kelly working so hard, as well as Tony and Bobby and all the financial employees. Everything is going really well. I've started fiddling with the FY25 budget. I'm excited for the revenue numbers to start coming in the next couple weeks so that I can make a presentation to you guys and start the new fiscal year. I'm really excited to be able to be here at the beginning of this versus hey catch, and so we're looking forward to that. I will start the capital improvement planning process likely in the second or third week of August. I reached out to my colleagues in the Small Town Administrators of Massachusetts organization, asking if anyone had used any decent programs for CIP planning. I'm waiting for that to come back because I would really like to use less paper and make it more effective, because our capital improvement plan is currently a pile of paper this big. So we will be moving forward on that. Public Safety Building Committee had a really great meeting about 2 weeks ago. Carrie Sacramone,
Yep.
Sacramone has
Yep.
been named the chair. Mike had the votes, but he talked everybody out of it. So that was really good. They're meeting next week, already talking about different facilities that they can go and visit as a committee to get ideas on different ways to move forward. We talked about setting smaller goals and potentially having get shovel-ready plans be a goal, and instead of just going for the whole kit and caboodle, which I think will be incredibly relevant come the future. Communications, I did an episode of Hubbardston Headlines with the new town clerk, Candace. It was released today. It was a great episode. I am now running out of people to introduce, so I will be bothering you guys soon to.
I think Mike wants to do one.
Mike might wanna do one. I'm thinking the
If he's
new,
not making eye contact, is
Yeah,
that
I know,
maybe-
he's like, nope.
the new principal, Mrs. Cook, who I met last week, will likely be my next new introduction, but after that, I think I'm running out of introductions. She was very nice, is looking forward to working with us as a community, We
New
are
principal of what?
of the Hubbardson Center School. Because Jill retired at the end of the year. This person's name is.
Have you done the police chief?
Yes.
You have? And
Yep.
the DPW fire chief?
They don't want to be part of this. Like,
What do you mean they don't want? They're public servants.
Isn't it in their contract?
You know,
Come
Public
on.
servants. Public
I
servants.
started this noting
Taxpayer
that I
dollars.
wouldn't force anybody to do it. It's an extra thing.
Yes, no, you should watch the one with Chief. There's a few
Yeah.
dad jokes in there that were rough.
Great dad jokes.
Yeah. Dad jokes from two guys that aren't dads, so.
Oh.
That's good stuff.
Good way to get a
It was riveting.
backhander.
Yeah. Over the past few weeks, the Hubbardson Department of Public Works has been actively engaged in a range of maintenance tasks, including tree removal, pothole filling, mowing, and equipment repairs. If anyone hears from different residents, feel free to forward their requests to Travis or myself, and we'll get somebody out there. For those sitting at home
For
today.
potholes, you mean?
For potholes, pretty much, yeah.
They got that big one over on Elm
Right up the
Street.
street.
They got
Yeah.
that big one on.
Yeah.
No,
You
they
just
did
create
today.
a group
They were
email
out.
called potholes at,
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
and then we'll just throw in the specific location and
Send us
pictures.
your picture, yeah.
For those who weren't there, and for the people watching at home, this morning we had a groundbreaking for the ground that has already been broken. But it was a very nice event, well attended by people for a 10 a.m. event on a Monday. I'd like to thank the representatives from MassDOT for coming out, and to the select board members that were able to attend, and to everybody for their work on that project. It was great to be able to recognize the former select board chair, Mr. Galante, for his work, and recognize the members of the town center committee. We also all got to throw a little bit of dirt with a shovel, which was fun.
Yeah, how's your insurance? My shoulder hurts.
Yeah.
If I could add to that, no disrespect here, but to bring you two up to date on the project itself, which was brought out by the Department of Transportation gentleman, Mr. Lorian. Where we are now in the project, it's 18% complete.
A long ways to go.
Yeah. It's on schedule.
The
Under-
rain and the ruts didn't
Yeah.
decrease the
yeah, but
percentage completion.
They're on schedule and under budget.
I thought you said
And the
on budget.
target date, right, it will be roughly where we are a year from now, this point in the summer, that's when it's slated to be done, but that's, the update he gave us, at this, did I leave anything out from what he told us,
No?
Peter?
8
Was
years
I
and
wrong on
6
one?
No, I
town
thought it was on
administrators.
budget, not under
Oh,
budget.
okay.
Yep, 6 events.
Yep, 8 years and 6 town administrators.
Yes,
That's
and 8 years.
That's how long it took to
Yeah.
get here.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think, 6 towns.
Some of them were interim.
Yeah,
Oh.
and some of them were repeats, interim.
Some didn't last 3 years, they moved on, so.
All right. Personnel recognition. I would like to applaud Land Use Clerk Mark Kresge for his attention to detail. Mark is so helpful with a lot of the stuff he's working on. He is a skilled professional in what he does, and it's great to have him around. I want to express my gratitude to the town clerk, Candace Livingston, for successfully overseeing the relocation of the assessor's office. For those who don't know, in an effort to increase our constituent services, we moved the assessor's office over to the town clerk's office, so that,
And from there over to there?
Yeah.
What's in there now?
I think I'm gonna move in there,
Sweet.
Mary's gonna move in there.
How about a universal select board
We
office?
can have a universal, go for it.
Take
I
turns.
think Nate needs an office that, well, I don't know, I guess the question is,
That's
does the
smaller than
desk
the one you
move?
have.
The desk moves, and why?
I'm not moving any desks.
Why we thought about moving me is because I don't, that's a weird thing to talk about on a table. I don't like sitting behind the table like this and talking to people, so I was gonna
So you
find.
like to see them walking in?
No, I was gonna find a little table on Marketplace so I can come sit next to you and show you things on the computer instead of staring at you from across the desk.
So they ordered the wrong desk?
No, I love the desk.
Oh.
I wasn't gonna wanna sit on the other side of any sort of desk, and I feel principally. And
You need a screen on the wall so you can, and a touch thing on your computer. So
yeah, well, we haven't figured that out yet, but someone will go in that office.
Oh, look at me, I don't.
Oh, you want an office?
No, I don't want one.
No, I don't either.
No, I just mean it's like.
But for those watching at home, any assessors, questions, paperwork, please go over to the office of the town clerk. The regional dispatch tower is almost done.
It's supposed to be the end of this month, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the end of every month.
Yep.
The only thing they're waiting on right now is to put a bowl on the top of the Rutland Dispatch Center to accept the frequencies from the tower. However, they're waiting on funding for that because getting a climber is apparently $3,000 an hour. So they are waiting for word from the state 911.
I thought it was all pre-approved and paid for.
The tower was. This project's on their building.
On,
Yeah.
But that has nothing to do with us.
Nope.
on their
Except for the
building
fact
in
that
Rutland?
We are part of the 5-member community, but we're not gonna have to pay anything out of pocket at this time.
It just means that, you know, the tower isn't gonna be done until.
So, because this is an upgraded tower, they're
Yeah.
now able to receive communication from this tower.
Yes. So
Why didn't
that's
they think of
going
that
up.
before?
So, how long is it gonna take to get this bowl up there?
He said by the end of the month.
Is it like a dish, satellite dish type?
Kinda, like
Did-
a really big satellite dish.
Did he clarify July 2023?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Would it require a crane
I don't believe it will require a crane, but it requires climbers
to carry?
to go up there.
So if you
Then-
wanna volunteer, Jeff, then, you know, we
I'll
just
climb
saved
up the damn
$3,000.
thing, give me the bowl, I'll go.
But we're also looking into, I met with Administrator Saganowitz and the director last week, and we discussed the RFP for commercial carriers. Someone's husband then brought up to our attention that the Telecommunications Act for the community might not allow
Us.
a commercial carrier in certain areas. So we're editing the RFP to bring that to the attention of potential bidders to make sure that they're aware of everything. And then the RFP will go out the minute the project's done, and then we will get, hopefully, commercial vendors on the post.
Is it a zoning thing?
It's a zoning thing.
Okay, why don't we change the zoning law?
Looking into it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Because,
Takes
you know, that can offset, you know, a lot.
But I do appreciate the planning board chair bringing that to our attention, because I would have much rather, and the town administrator in Rutland, everybody agreed, we would have much rather caught this now versus move forward with it and get sued.
But that's
So-
not a revenue stream for us, is it?
It would not be a revenue stream for us, it would be a revenue stream for the conglomerate as a whole.
Yeah, but it could reduce the rate we pay.
It could.
Yeah.
They're right.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I have a hard time believing that it will, but.
Well, they gotta show,
Yeah.
just like all the meetings Jeff and I went to, they gotta show where the money's going.
Mhm.
And, you know, when did we do that, last year? I
Yeah,
forget.
fall, yeah.
It's almost, we should probably set up a meeting to go look at their books anyways. Does anybody look at their books?
So we're having a stakeholder meeting in August, because when the new town administrator in Rutland came on, I had a meeting with him and told him that neither I or my predecessor were happy with the communications between the communications director
Mhm.
and the town administrators in the member communities.
Mhm.
So, and I know the Rutland town administrator from a previous life, so he set up the stakeholder meeting. So
Good.
it'll be good. Projects and procurement, the DPW roof project is set to commence probably in 2 weeks. We got the contract all out there, we're just waiting on the check for the bond. And I have, what will be tomorrow, releasing the RFP for the senior deck project. And I'm working with Omni, that group in the email from the collaborative for purchasing, to look into if they can beat the original $48,000 price of the boiler. So those are the two projects that I'm working on right now, the deck for around back and the boiler. Has everyone seen the plans for the deck?
No, I have not.
Cause there's gonna be a
Impressive.
deck
Is
over
it?
Edge
Yeah.
out your back window.
More than I expected.
I'd like to see the plan.
Oh, for the senior deck?
Yeah. Have you seen it, Peter? I have.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
I thought I did. It's pretty nice.
here it is.
Costs a lot of money for what it
What
is.
space we were in. Oh, yeah,
Awful lot of money.
considering what she thought it was gonna be.
But knowing what I paid for my deck, I can understand.
Deck.
Oh, the same?
Yep, they're the same.
It's good. They need a place to go outside of the building.
So it's not wood, it's all block?
Is it all block? It looks
That,
like it's,
if you
that
look on
looks
the
like
top
that's
of
the
it, it looks
ramp.
like block.
Yeah, it's probably it.
But it looks all block.
And then-
Handicap,
Yeah, and then down in the back, it looks like, deck.
Why don't you, if you,
Maybe it's
if you
the
turn
lines
the
on the
page, you'll
thing.
probably get into the material list. Right, Knight? Yeah. Should be listed. If my memory serves me
It's
correct.
Do it,
I
the
imagine it's brick and composite.
spec included.
Yeah,
See that
and
thing?
see, this looks
Just
like
fine,
Yeah.
thank you,
some
ma'am.
kind of composite or
Yeah.
something, but it might be.
Because that's what everyone's doing now.
Well,
I
it's
see a
all
lot of
piles.
composite with
Is it?
the wire.
But see, that looks like blocks to me, but maybe I'm.
Where? It's blocks out here on the.
Yeah,
Yeah, the outside is
Isn't the
blocks.
flat with blocks?
It does.
Are those not
It looks-
square
it look-
block
Yeah, they
things?
are, that you see, the shadows, yeah, I see those. But there's gotta be a list on here somewhere, the material.
Where would it be,
Sure
Mike?
Keep
those
going.
square blocks? It's not
Mike, you wanna hand me a page?
Masonry specs, why don't you read that?
Unilock,
See, masonry.
Unilock
okay.
X patio, right there.
And so it's
Unilock X
composite deck.
patio, paper.
Okay,
There you go, 8
so
by 8
they're gonna
is-
use pavers.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is pavers, not wood.
Unilock,
Yeah.
Unilock, not the cheap ones.
And that's a comparable material or not more expensive than if they were using,
It's
what's?
cheaper than Trex decking.
Thank you,
I'm
that's what
sure
my
it is.
question was.
Oh, you
The
know,
composites.
How does this stand, I'm probably asking questions you probably don't know, Nate, but do we know how the pavers are gonna stand up against the snow and the ice?
I would hope well, but I do not know that.
Okay.
Pavers are, yeah, if you use salt, that's usually where you
yeah, that's
go.
what deteriorates the
yeah,
line.
that's
Are we
where it
planning
goes
to
wrong.
use salt or anything on them, or are we just not using the deck when it's icy, or the
I
ramp
don't think we will use the,
outside?
it will likely be a 3-season deck,
Who's gonna be clearing the deck?
Well, that's
Jim.
question.
Well, you don't need to,
but-
you won't need to clear the deck if you're not gonna use the deck and it's
Well,
not
if
wood,
that's,
it's not gonna cave in.
hold on,
It's a
Well,
second exit, right? Oh, no,
that's
this
the
door.
handicap exit. Think about this, but we still have a handicap exit if you cut through this
Yeah,
to go here.
Yeah.
But this is the handicap exit for the senior center.
So how do you treat that or maintain it to keep it
You
clear
you
without?
snow blow it.
yeah, and then
Can you snow blow that without destroying the pavers?
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
What are pavers?
Like,
Like cement,
bricks.
like concrete brick.
like
things.
walkways, when they put the blocks, individual
Is this
blocks?
thing up in the air or is it on the ground?
It looks like it's gonna be built up on the ground.
Can you see the,
Yeah, cause there's a retention wall
See
right
the
here,
squares?
see the retention wall? See all
but
the-
does, how high is the retention wall?
It looks like it's about
Step
6 feet.
footing, 6 inches, hold on.
So it's just a floor, it's just a ground level patio?
No, it's
No,
up.
No, not
They're
ground
building
level.
Oh,
it
isn't
up.
this
Ground
the,
level.
aren't these the numbers going up, new paver walkway, 1.1 to 20 max slope?
It could be.
Aren't pavers kinda heavy to be building up off the ground?
No, not if you put the,
No,
build the
there's
dirt
foundation
up.
under it.
Yeah, you build it up.
That's why there's a retaining wall on the outside of it.
Continuous guardrail.
Not cheap.
No.
So in other words, they're gonna be
New
filling
masonry
it.
No, they're
block
gonna fill
retaining
it?
wall
This is
on
the
the.
Yeah, they're gonna be
$100,000
filling it.
So it's gonna be filled and then the
Yeah.
pavers are going on top of the fill?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it has to be filled with a certain fill to compact
Yeah, it's not just like,
every day.
Junk
It's
you-
not
yeah,
rocks and
no.
stuff like that. It's,
no, it's lit.
it has to hold a certain amount of weight.
So we're gonna
Isn't it
build a
able to break
retaining wall, fill it
on
so
this?
that it's level to the building, and then we're gonna put pavers on top.
I'm just bummed about the tree. I'm losing my tree.
Yeah, you meant.
Well, that's
oh,
not,
you're
it's
losing
got,
it,
it's
but
gonna
last
be
time I-
proper,
I
obviously.
thought you weren't sure what was gonna
Yeah.
happen. Oh, that's too bad.
But yeah, it looks like,
I like it.
so it will be a retaining wall rather than an open deck. And it's I'm guessing the reason why would be to accommodate the wheelchair handicap
Yeah,
access.
absolutely, yeah.
Because it's
And it actually widens up this roadway a little bit.
to do something.
So if you need a van over here to drop somebody off that's handicapped, it probably leaves you enough room for 2 cars, cause right
So-
now there really isn't.
What's the, I didn't see it on, it's probably not, do we know what the square footage is that it's gonna add for outdoor area once you ex-nay the ramp bay?
It's gotta be in the paperwork here.
Yeah.
The square footage, I didn't see that, but I didn't.
But you know what I mean,
Yep.
right? Like, you know,
What's the
ultimately for the
total?
cost and everything else, how much are you actually getting?
Outside of writing the RFP and talking to the chief about how the heck we're gonna do a complete route through our parking
The
lot
retaining wall
while they're
would be
building a deck
Yep.
Yeah.
this fall,
It'll be 6 inches.
I haven't looked too much into this.
Yeah.
Goes
That's
with the
fair.
height though.
No, because it
problem.
depends on where
There's gotta be
it
an
is.
elevation in here somewhere.
Did we already do the RFP for
The
it?
color is charcoal and
It's
granite.
going out, we
It's
had
very
an
no
issue
expense,
with our
whatever
account
it is.
with, Gateway,
Okay.
Gatehouse.
But they're doing whatever they can,
And so
it'll probably
it's gonna-
outlast the building.
Are we doing an RFP or
Well,
an
this building
IFP?
was a temporary building,
Well, yeah. Yeah,
built
yeah.
back in the 70s, so.
It's over $100,000.
It's
They were-
less than
Usually
the
these
phone.
buildings are modular, so.
And we're funding that how?
Prison work,
It was funded prior to my arrival through the ARPA and a couple other avenues. I'd have to go and get you exact, but
There's state funding and then there's some donations.
you have state funding, donations, and ARPA.
Yeah, ARPA got, what, 50,000,
Yeah.
but, the rest of it's 100-something thousand, right, to build that thing? I don't know what it is.
You wanna talk about something else unpleasant?
No, not really.
Oh. So did
I'm
you-
sure we're going to.
We are recording, no,
Did you check the email that I sent this afternoon
on the chiller,
on the chiller?
yeah.
Because
No, I
the-
didn't go into it in detail, cause I was.
The Quabbin School District would like to know how we propose moving forward with the debt. My suggestion and their options are one foul swoop or break it down.
Yeah.
I'm suggesting that we break it down over however many years we can.
Basically $100,000.
It's $100,000.
Yeah, I saw that dollar amount. I saw 2 towns already approved, and there's 3 of us that
Yeah, well,
haven't.
2
See-
towns paid it in full.
Yeah,
Their,
well,
their,
that-
their
there's
money
like-
was $10,000,
Yeah.
or whatever they were paying, or 25,000.
Yeah, and their
Yeah,
town
it's not
meetings-
100,000.
But their town meetings were also way later than ours too, so they could digest it and actually
God,
get
yeah.
the real dollar amounts and work with it, where ours, we didn't even have our
I
questions
thought there was
answered.
like a max time limit on that, like 10 years or
Here, I'm
something,
opening it up right now.
which would be what, 10,000 plus interest a year?
Just about, yeah. If it's 10 years, yeah.
Yeah.
So it sounds like if I read that correctly, Nate, that we're gonna be responsible for, they're not gonna go out for funding for that, we're gonna have to go out for funding ourselves.
That wasn't my understanding of that.
Yeah,
I
mine
think they're
neither.
gonna go out for funding.
I was
Okay.
under the impression that they were gonna go out for funding and
Okay.
wanted to, and it
They
would
just
be-
wanna know our terms, so.
Yeah.
I thought they were talking about anticipation notes. So, maybe,
So let's open it.
maybe I misread that.
Take the cushy chair,
I don't like chairs like that,
why not?
'cause they fall out of them.
The hell are you doing it?
Hey, when you work a midnight shift and you sit in something like that, you do stupid things.
Okay.
See how
Keep
fast-
yourself awake.
See how
So
fast
what's your,
we-
what's your concern, Nate? What are you thinking of here?
1 second. My apologies. I send a lot of emails.
Concern is the bottom line, how we can afford,
Yes.
which is the best way we can afford to
Well, what's the,
come up with
what's
the
the
amount of money that's
least-
necessary.
Yeah, what's the least painful way that we
Right.
should be doing this, so
Yeah.
that way we don't kinda get ourselves in a little bit of a jam.
Yeah, now the interest rates are up around 5 and 6 or 7 or whatever it is.
Well, that's why I'm asking, that's what he's looking at, whether we're paying for it, or are we just making payments to them, and they're getting the loans?
I thought it was gonna be like, they're getting the loan, but we're gonna pay them,
So,
they're getting the note.
Working with a financial manager, advisor.
So I'll just read it into the record. Dear Town Administrators, please share this email with your select boards and any other departments as applicable. The district is working with its financial advisor, Margaret McLean, at Unibank and bond counsel, Richard A. Manley Jr. at Lock Lord LLP to begin the process necessary to incur debt to pay for a new chiller at Quabbin Regional Middle/High School. Some towns took action at their town meetings to appropriate funds to pay their share of the debt upfront and in full. As such, the total project amount to be paid through bond anticipation notes, BANs, has been reduced. This chart indicates the amount of $387,344.
Hold on, resolution.
Hold on,
Oh, jeez.
you went too fast, there you go.
But that was more fun.
This chart indicates
Yeah.
the amount of the $387,344 project each community is responsible for paying. Asterisk. Votes taken at annual town meetings and the total amount of the band. Please note, communities which chose to borrow for this project may not pay the apportioned cost as shown, because based on the regional agreement formula, the fiscal year principal and interest debt assessment is apportioned yearly based on resident student enrollment in the middle/high school as of October 1st enrollment of the prior fiscal year.
So right there,
So it's
it
going
said-
up already.
So, but under, please
Sounds
note,
like
communities
it could
which
be more next
choose,
year.
communities which choose to borrow for this project, those who aren't paying it all up front, choose to borrow, that sounds like we're borrowing.
We can't pay it up front, that's for sure.
No,
I know, but
Read the
how-
rest of the sentence though.
I'm under the impression that they're working with bond counsel and their financial advisors to figure out exactly what they're borrowing.
So that's if we choose to pay it.
Right, so I have a question. So, whatever this note is, this note's gonna go up every year according to the population of the student.
Yep.
Or it could go
So we're
down.
not locked in, or it could go down, and that's not gonna happen. Not with the amount of houses they're building in town, that's not happening. So we're not paying $100,000, we could be paying $135,000, $40,000 in a couple of years.
So let's get to
Could
the
be.
questions that they're asking in that, and then we can, Mr. Chairman.
So why don't
open
we
up-
take out
Yeah.
the note on our own and just pay the whole thing?
So Cheryl is requesting that each member community respond to one of these two questions. One, if the community voted to appropriate funds in full upfront, when does the community expect to be processing payment to the district?
Okay, I think we can all agree we're not doing that one.
Yes, we haven't done that.
Okay.
Two, if the community did not vote to appropriate funds, A, do community officials wish to proceed with borrowing to repay over time? B, do community officials have an idea of the term of borrowing they prefer, may not exceed 10 years? C, can community officials offer several dates in which they could attend a meeting with school committee and district financial advisors to discuss and agree on a length of term for the band, after 7/24/23 and at 6:30? I'd appreciate your quick response.
But my problem,
I don't understand how it could change.
right, this is what my problem is. How can they change how much we pay after we're locked
They
into a
can't.
note?
I don't believe they will.
No.
Well, that's not what I
It said
read.
it
No.
relates to the number of students.
Right
but-
now.
It's
Yeah,
Right
that-
now,
Yes,
it's 35%, or 30,
that's what they're locking it in at.
25.702.
Yeah.
Is how much money we're paying right now, 99,554.
Yeah.
No,
Now,
they're stating that the numbers didn't change based on the fact that some communities chose to pay it outright.
right, so we're getting penalized because we can't afford to pay it outright.
No,
Yes, because what
actually,
if,
the
what
amount
if
goes
another
down,
town's
right?
population goes up?
no, they're not moving it, they're going as of the numbers that were as of 10/1/2022, that's our rate. That's our
That's
our
not what I
percentage.
read. Can we lower that? Can you lower that again and get back to?
Absolutely.
Baby.
That's, I can't reach on these.
Hold on,
I can't either.
trying to make it
I
big.
can't. You said 10-1, I'm saying good for you. Where
Yeah.
is that?
Where did it say about the population of the school?
As of 10/1/2022. Not right there.
Where?
Please note, communities which choose to borrow, I'll highlight it, for this project may not pay the apportioned cost as shown, because based on the regional agreement formula, the fiscal year principal and interest debt assessment is apportioned yearly based on resident student enrollment in the middle/high school as of October 1st
So-
enrollment.
So already on October 1st, 23, it's going up. That's basically what they're telling you. That price,
If
right
we-
here, is going up for us. If the student population goes up.
This chart indicates the amount. Hold on.
I agree with you that statement does
Raises your mouth.
does note that if we do not do this by
We're screwed.
October, when the next year
Year.
comes into play, then the cost may go up,
Yeah.
and we had 15 new
And we're
students.
getting punished because we can't, because the schools that pay in full now aren't gonna have to pay that. Because they're fixed, locked in at their rate, whatever they're paying right now.
Paid it in full.
At the
Towns
22
Paid it
rate.
in full.
See what I'm saying? So we're getting
Can you get
penalized,
that clarified? If we don't
Absolutely.
pay in full
which
by
is wrong.
10/1,
That's
is our
just
dollar
wrong.
amount that is owed going to change?
How can a note that you sign for a length and a term change yearly?
It won't. It would, but if we did it
That's
after.
not
No,
what-
the note won't change, our responsibility to pay
Oh,
Quabbin
the
will
town.
change. So we're gonna, if the population goes up, we're gonna have to find more money to add to what we
Yeah,
bought the note
totally.
for, to pay for the
You
school.
understand what we're asking,
If the
right?
Not the
population of
school,
students
pay
goes
for
down.
this, I read
Right.
it as this debt's gonna go up. Our $99,000 debt is going up every time a student is
No,
increased
I-
at
no,
the
I
school.
thought that-
No.
That's not
Round
gonna
it off
change.
at 100, I
I'm
think that's the
reading this
maximum it
as
would be.
if we don't lock in a loan by October 1st,
Then
when the
they
new,
pay.
when the new
So our
amounts
number here would
set
go up.
a little bit.
If we don't, in other words, if we don't make an agreement of some sort to pay the 99,000.
Okay, maybe I'm just wrong.
That's what I'm reading.
And-
but-
Okay,
We're
well, we
gonna
need
be-
clarification.
No,
And- And
I
we're gonna
agree.
be meeting
Make
with
sure.
financial advisors at the school after 7/24 and after 6:30.
So, if we paid it in full, we wouldn't even be having this discussion, because it wouldn't affect us.
Well, even if we made a payment plan, if we're locked into something on how we're going to pay it.
But let's say in the over a few years, the payment that comes due is slightly different in each case. If I understand this now, what will not change is the 100,000 in a sense that we owe for over that period of time, right? Even though we
Yeah, 'cause
are.
our amount of debt's not changing. I mean, this
That's
is
the
a
total
capital,
amount we have to
capital
pay,
improvement to
correct?
that building.
Is that right?
It takes time to take out loans. They're gonna have to go through all this banking. If the amount of time to take out the loan goes past the October 1st deadline,
Well, we're running out of time.
they may,
Then
then the
we'd be
numbers
in
are
trouble.
going to shift
Right.
ever so
Right.
based
Right.
on the
Yeah.
student enrollment.
That's
of-
why they want us to get back to them right away.
I'm not reading it that way, so I guess I would still
We need
like,
clarification then,
I don't think we have
obviously.
enough information to vote, I think we need to
See,
maybe even
but
have them come, or maybe
students-
we have to do our
student-
vote after their meeting and do a online meeting at
Yeah,
the same time
but-
and Zoom on it, because I think there's too many questions,
Yeah.
right, like,
Student population should not affect a capital, a debt plan here. This is capital for that school. This is part of their capital debt, right, or whatever they call it. This
but they're
is-
figuring out their apportionment based on the tuition, based on the regional agreement. So they're saying, your piece of the pie is this based on this calculation. The question we have with regards to the piece of the pie is if we wait till after October 1st, is the
It's
piece of
going
the
up.
pie adjust?
Yeah,
Or is this, are you saying, you know, if we do this over 5 years,
Yeah, but-
each year it's going to adjust and our numbers are gonna have to be recalculated?
I guess, I don't know. I don't really know the whole school system, how their figures are
After
figured,
the
but.
meeting, let's figure out a time frame to propose to them. We can either host a special meeting or hold off until August 7th, once we have that meeting.
Yeah,
Is
'cause
that
they
our
want
next
us to
meeting,
do-
August 7th?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they want us to do after 7/24 anyway,
So can we just invite them to our August 7th meeting?
We're gonna have to send them several dates, which we can discuss on the after.
Can we send them August 7th at 6:45,
6:30.
August 7th at 7, August,
Please
So-
be here.
I'm a little
To answer
confused.
all of our
I'm not too
questions.
smart with finances.
It's not clear. Nobody in this room exactly understand what they're saying.
Okay.
So you're not the only one.
All right,
Point
so I'm not
made.
alone.
Point made. Yep.
Well, we've interpreted it 6 different ways.
Right.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
I'm confused by the fact that we already pay for debt that's happening at the school. That doesn't go up every year, and this is no different. This is another capital project that we're paying for at the school, and it shouldn't go up. But I'm reading that like it will.
Yeah, I don't.
I will ask
yeah.
them tomorrow if they and their colleagues from the bond council and financial advising firm can come on August 7th. And if they say no or yes, I will reach out to you all and either confirm it or attempt to make another date.
So basically what they're saying is if we don't lock this number in before October, that capital debt number is gonna go up.
There are several varying understandings of what that statement means.
Thank you.
So
I'm done.
So we're gonna ask them questions.
So I'm not the only one that's really.
when they come
When
here.
they come.
But
I
the
think-
other thing too is it might not necessarily go up, depending on how the numbers shake out.
Well, you know how the numbers, what did I
No,
say?
because sometimes it's weird, like you'll have years that the numbers go higher in like Barry
We've
or
been
something.
higher how many years now?
I'm just, that doesn't mean one of the other towns isn't gonna be higher than us.
Right.
Barry's always gonna be higher than
But I
us. They
mean,
have
with
more
their, how
students
many students per year? There's some years that are just bumper crop, so like my oldest, Angel, she was in a classroom, there was 3 classrooms 30 deep. But every year around her, there was 3 classrooms of 20 deep.
That's wrong.
So it was one year that
Yeah.
there was a snowstorm.
They should all be 30 deep. Load those
And I'm
classrooms.
just saying, it was a high level of students that one year.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah, that's confusing.
So where are we at?
So,
You
we're at-
will ask them and then we'll,
And
Yeah,
then,
they need to explain it.
then we'll talk
because
about it.
Any capital debt should be going up based on your population, cause you're already being paid for the debt. I mean, you got a fixed price.
okay,
Yeah.
so we have to wait.
People
till we get more
installing it doesn't
information.
raise that price every year.
So just for the good of the record, one last item, we,
Can I just, what is the current public debt rate? What do you think we could get for rate on something like that?
Well, it also depends on who's going out for it.
Yeah,
If
it
they're going
depends.
out for it with the whole debt all together, or if we're going out for it for just our 99.
Right.
they would likely go, and it depends if their bond counsel could propose lumping it together with other debt, and like there are so many variables. That's a question we're gonna have to ask them when they're because they could, like, we met today with our bond counsel to talk about the roof debt, and
Yeah.
there were as many variables for that
Really?
as, like, we could, one of the options was lump it in with something in the future,
Yeah.
just so that
Right.
you have more kind of clout to get more of a better rate.
Sure.
So we'd have to talk to their financial advisors and their bond counsel about what those options would be.
Okay.
Rates aren't beautiful right now.
Yeah, so they couldn't take an old debt and refinance an old debt with this debt, could they?
Sure, why not?
Sure.
They could?
If it was helpful for their
Yeah, if it
bottom
worked
line.
out, yeah.
Alright. So if they grouped up some of their old debt they had and they wanted to throw this,
And that's why bond counsel's here,
okay.
because
When-
They're the brains?
When we're able to schedule the meeting, Nate, can we also make sure we invite Mary,
Yes.
Who's mayor?
our treasurer collector? She's gonna be our knowledgeable resource on the matter.
That's me.
Plus she lives in Barry.
Because she deals with,
All
Okay,
right.
is there anything else we need to do with this
Yes.
item?
Just for the good of the order, the select board and myself did discuss having the goals session for the select board fiscal year on Thursday, the 20th at 5 p.m. It is respectfully asked for residents of the public to not attend, as it is a goal session and retreat. It will be worded respectfully on the agenda when posted tomorrow. The minutes
We
will
might
be
have to push
available.
that back. Can we change that time?
What time would work for you?
We already changed the date, why not
5:30?
change the time?
Sure.
Oh, yeah, that's
Just some
awesome.
Yeah,
people,
that's-
some people still have a day
Would
job.
that work?
What, yeah,
Do you have a day job?
What time is it? 5:30?
5:30?
Do you?
5:30 to 7:30.
You can't get out early?
5:30 to 7:30.
Okay,
Use up a little pee time or something?
all right.
So, Thursday, 5:30 to 7:30.
But I have to be home by 7.
Stop it, shut up.
Alright, well,
Shut up, I'm gonna take my flip-flop off and chuck it at you.
All right.
I got all the time in the world, believe me.
So we'll move, we're all right to move on to your report and everything else? Okay. Policies to review, I don't think we have any, correct? Matters not reasonably anticipated by the chair, does anyone have anything?
I do.
Go.
How much money is left in ARPA?
$351,000.
No, that's usable.
$351,000 minus $250 for the ambulance that the chief just bought. So $100,000.
Is that
Why don't we
actually
use-
usable?
Why can't we put in a request for that boiler for that money?
Because there are variables, they are
What it
locked
can be
up,
used for,
it's
yeah.
locked up in the feasibility study for the, it's all
What,
of
the
it
money
is-
that's in there?
Yeah,
They
all
gotta
of it
spend it
is-
by what, 26?
There's no money in there. Everything,
zero.
everything is
Money
allocated.
encumbered.
Everything's
All the
spoken
money's
for,
encumbered.
that's what,
Yeah,
that's what I,
right.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
yeah, nothing.
So
There's
everything's
money in the
allocated.
bank account, but it's all been
Yeah,
encumbered.
okay.
It's all
It's all
That's what I
allocated,
need.
it's all
Yeah.
allocated, right?
I wouldn't have kept rambling if I heard that right
Yeah,
away.
it's all allocated out. If
So I didn't
any-
mean, yeah.
if anything comes back and there's suddenly an amount of that to be allocated, it would be brought to your attention. Because we
But
don't.
the amount for the feasibility study could be in play, but we're keeping it there in case we need to do another feasibility study at a
Mhm.
different property.
Yes.
I thought we didn't spend all the money in our last meeting.
It's,
These
it's
two
a-
would know, they're the ones.
It's a very,
So-
there's.
I thought it was
The
like
town-
$38,000 left
The
in there.
town center is what's screwing it up.
Really?
Yeah.
Because residents are not choosing to act quickly.
I know, and they're still
Yeah.
dealing with that?
Yes.
The
Yep.
people
yeah.
aren't
Because
cashing
we
checks and.
technically
Yep.
could,
They're not
like,
coming to get them, or?
the legal time frame for them to accept that offer is longer than that of ARPA.
So we're,
So,
Are you kidding me?
no, so we're gonna have to figure something out.
You're gonna have to put it in escrow or
And
something.
what's that number?
it varies, 'cause someone took $700 the other day, so I can get you an update, but it's not a ton, but it is let's call it $8,000 to $10,000 that's just sitting there.
So that screws your books up like constantly?
Yes,
Oh my god.
and they're justifiably, a lot of the people don't wanna go and deal with their mortgage for $200,
Yeah, I understand
so,
that. So why don't they just donate? They can't.
cause you still have to deal with your mortgage.
Mortgage, yeah. Oh, yeah, but
I,
And the mortgage companies aren't answering.
no, we should've never did ARPA for that. That's like one of those things, hindsight's 20/20.
yeah.
Well, if
That's
we
one
can
of those.
always appropriate an amount of free cash that's equivalent
We're
to the
gonna
amount
have
that's
to.
bound,
We may
we
have
are.
to.
We're
Yeah,
gonna have
yeah,
to
we're gonna have
eventually,
to,
because the ARPA's gonna have to get used, or else they're gonna suck it back.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have
And
to
we're gonna be
re-
double
Yeah, we-
paying.
Yeah,
Why don't
exactly.
we need to start working on that ASAP?
Yeah,
then.
it's on my
Okay,
plan
'cause
for
we need to
annual town meeting
Take
this
care of
year.
that.
Mm-hmm.
fix it,
just-
so
Well,
that
they
way we
can't,
can just be done with it.
They can't suck it back if it's allocated.
But I think it has to be spent
Yeah,
by.
you have-
Yeah,
December.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
spent
it's gotta
by
be
a
spent,
certain
yeah.
By
amount.
December, right?
You can bring it
But
back.
that's,
Isn't that right, Heather?
There's no law that
By
says you
December?
can't
December
take
of
it back.
next year.
Why? If
Yeah.
it's
It has
allocated?
to be
What do you mean by
allocated by
allocated?
December of next
And
year,
spent by what,
spent by
26?
26.
Yeah, yeah,
So we're working with time.
yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah,
it's
but all
still
these
annoying.
properties we're trying to pay for is allocated money, but if we get that money from a different source, you can take it back.
We'd
Can
be
you
better
not?
off just putting the money in a special article and letting it die there for the next 3 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the time frame that these residents have to take us up on that offer does expire. It just takes a longer time than our.
ARPA, then we have to spend ARPA.
Yeah, yeah. That's why we need to get it back into ARPA.
Okay, so, we're just at the end here. Anything else? We have public and press questions now. Mike?
Sure, Mike Stahl, 5 Lombard Road, Mr. Chair. Earlier, there was discussion regarding periodic reviews. believe one of the periodic reviews is a town boundary survey. And based on documents that are online, the last time that was done was 2018, and that is due every 5 years. So you brought up some other reviews, might as well get them all.
And this is town,
Boundary survey, so,
Boundaries,
yeah,
okay.
You
the
gotta go find
corners
the
of the
four
town,
corners.
oh, that, we
basically.
did that before.
Is that an
Yeah.
assessors?
I
I
remember-
haven't done it yet.
I remember
so-
Dan and I
Yeah.
did the walk to find,
Yes,
and
yes.
the stone, some of them were
Oh, the town.
really
boundary,
difficult to
okay.
find them.
Sure, one's in the Burn Shirt River.
Oh, that was a challenge.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So the original stones of the town
Yeah.
was incorporated.
So every year you go, every 5 years, I think, is
Wow.
what is required, at least that's what one document said. And, you gotta go and repaint the year, the
trying to
most
remember who
current year.
came before us, when we had to do that before, who knew where these things were, you know, because we were sitting here saying.
It's gotta be on
"Where?"
paper somewhere.
I'll look
It-
into that.
There's a boundary survey, it's online,
Yeah.
under the town's website, you
But
can
then,
read it,
then
there's
going out on the
photos.
land where it's overgrown, there's your
Yes,
challenge of.
yeah.
Are you
where
volunteering to be
is this?
town boundaries czar?
I would love to go along, so if I've already found someone.
Yeah. I'll look into that and get back to the
Yeah.
select board.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
Mike.
you.
All right, thank you, Mike. Okay, again, public and press questions, no, so would someone like to make the motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor?
Yes.
Meeting
Yes.
adjourned.
Bye.